Gucci video from Bloomberg. I love Gucci. If you don't know, I have Gucci. Look at these. Boom. Okay, I hope you can see them. I can't tell without my glasses. They're Gucci glasses. So let's see here. Bloomberg on Gucci. Thank you, Giga Chad, for sending me this video. Of course, it had to be a guy named Giga Chad.
This is the image that Gucci would like to project.
Gucci doesn't belong in a mall. It belongs in a museum.
I could have my Gucci on. Where you Gucci back row?
Gucci, 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 please. Gucci, please.
That's my boy
Gucci is that brand that makes people think they want to live larger than life and be sexy and be adventurous and be unconventional.
I was down in Florida. I stayed in a gated community. And we went to a Gucci store and a Miss Gucci. And everything was outrageous. But me and my colleagues wanted everything. You know, we wanted everything in the store. But the thing that we looked for is you want to buy Gucci with minimum branding, right? You don't buy Gucci, like look at Gucci and it says it on the side. Or Gucci wallet with just the B on it. Or Gucci belt with just the logo. You don't want to buy Gucci and show it off, because then you're going to show someone that you have money, right? You want to buy Gucci and it not be very, very
But
public.
behind the scenes, things have been
People
a bit
who
less
know
glamorous.
money know
Still
what
in
it is.
shock from Gucci's dramatic slowdown.
Gucci sales falling 20% in Asia.
A steep drop in sales at its flagship Gucci brand.
Clearly,
Gucci's
Gucci
going under?
isn't at the top of its game.
So how did
It's going
Gucci and the
Is it going
$50
up?
billion
What's going on here?
conglomerate that owns it fall from high fashion to the discount rack?
Is it really in the discount rank?
While Gucci
Still
is an
pretty
icon of
expensive.
Italian fashion, it's been owned by the French company Kering for the past 2 decades.
Kering is a luxury conglomerate that is controlled by the Pinault family.
Even though it is an established multi-brand luxury group, they have other storied brands like Yves Saint Laurent and Bottega Veneta and Balenciaga. Gucci is really the mothership for the
Balenciaga is good stuff too. Absolutely.
company.
Kering
This is coming from an ex-model, right? I did some modeling for a while.
was founded by Francois Pinault, who built the company through acquisitions over several decades. He's now 87, and his son, Francois-Henri, has taken over.
He's well known because he hangs out quite a lot on the red carpets. His wife is Salma Hayek, the actress and producer.
You see this woman everywhere. If you don't know, this woman was in Magic Mike 3. Super famous. Absolutely.
Now, Kering's big rival is LVMH, the owner of Louis Vuitton and Christian Dior.
Louis Vuitton. Now that's a nice thing too. Hold on, we're having connection issues, guys. I'm gonna continue.
Among others. That company is run by Bernard Arnault. So there's a duopoly in the French fashion world, with LVMH under Arnault on one side and Kering under Pinault on the other. That rivalry
being
really
French,
came
of
to a
course.
head in the late 90s, when Arnault had set his sights on acquiring Gucci for LVMH.
And that was the point when Tom Ford and Domenico De Sole were running Gucci as a public company, and they didn't want Mr. Arnault to have it. And they ended up signing an agreement with Francois Pinault, the father, who was the white knight who came in.
So initially they bought a 40% stake in Gucci, and eventually they bought the rest of
In the
it
other
after a
company,
lot of
absolutely.
acrimonious moves against LVMH.
During that era, Kering was about the same size as LVMH. In the years since, they've had different trajectories. With savvy deal-making and management, LVMH's value has soared to $450 billion, while Kering's hasn't.
LVMH's market cap nowadays is about 10 times.
Ooh, that's bad. What happened? What is Gucci being sold cheaper? Or did a bunch of poor people buy Gucci stuff? Like, my brother bought a Rolex, and he had to get on a list. You know, he wanted to buy brand new. He couldn't buy it off market. He would be banned. Like all these rules and stuff. Did Gucci stop doing their ginormous
Bigger
withholding?
than Kering's. Kering is very dependent on Gucci. Basically, about 50% of its sales come from Gucci, but more than 2/3 of operating profit come from Gucci.
So when Gucci is suffering, the whole company is suffering.
At LVMH, it's slightly different. Louis Vuitton generates about a quarter of total sales, but it's about half of total profitability. The fact that LVMH is less dependent on one single brand provides more stability.
Even so, Gucci,
Louis
and
Vuitton,
therefore
of
Kering,
course.
has had a few successful years. And that was largely down to one man, Alessandro Michele.
In the years
What? Who? This man's making Gucci? Hold on.
that followed the nomination of Alessandro
Look at this guy. It is expensive Jesus. This guy, I could be this guy. I could look like this. I could design clothes and look like this. Yes. Yes. Get on the stage. I have an outfit for you. Get on over there. I could be this man. I could be here. Absolutely. I could. Right. Yeah. Gucci for sure. Yeah. I could do this.
Michele as creative director.
Look
at
at
Gucci
him!
In 2015.
He looks like a hobo. The man who makes Gucci looks like a hobo. Dude. It's so great.
The label did really, really well. They kept putting out hit products.
There was the Marmont bag in 2016, for
Marmont.
instance, and the Dionysus bag and the Princetown slippers a year earlier.
The furry slippers really became a hit product. They really resonated well with the younger generations. They were bohemian, they were maximalists, and they were chic. And during that time, the market cap of Kering actually quadrupled. Sales at Gucci more than tripled.
But being a top fashion brand comes with problems.
Finding that right balance in the fashion industry to stay on top and yet have your products be fresh, it's very difficult to hit and it's very difficult to maintain over the long term.
The Fashion Retail List publishes rankings on the world's most fashionable brands, and Gucci has fallen down the rankings.
Since 2022, the performance at Gucci and therefore Kering has really suffered. Sales have missed a number of times and the stock price has really tumbled.
The success of Louis Vuitton has meanwhile helped turn Bernard Arnault into, at times, the richest person in the world, and his was a very different strategy.
So, I mean, in some ways, Louis Vuitton has a more classic image and positioning. LVMH has been at this longer. They are really total pros in this game.
There's a difference between luxury and fashion. In fashion, for instance, you're relying on trends, whereas in luxury, you rely on timeless, on heritage products that basically stand the test of time.
That, and you don't let poor people buy them. Things worth value are all in the eyes of the beholder, right? If I hold up this knife, you say it's like, I don't know, it's a $10 knife, right? But to me, my cousin-in-law gave it to me. It says groomsman. It was very important to me. I wouldn't sell it for anything. Right? So I'm sure people who buy stuff from Louis Vuitton or any of these high-end fashion designs want to see it as, or high-end luxury designs want to see it withhold and pass it along and desire it. You know, like I said with the Rolex, it's very expensive because it's classic. It's design. You see a Rolex and you know, like, this guy has some real moolah. You know, this guy is making some money. He's going places, you know. But you see, if you see a Gucci item at your TJ Maxx, your local TJ Maxx on clearance, well, you're gonna be like, I don't want to buy Gucci anymore. They got to sell it for less. It's not. It's perceived
That's what
value.
differentiates top-tier luxury brands such as Louis Vuitton and Hermes.
A typical luxury product, for instance, is the Birkin bag by Hermes, which was created in the 1980s.
Absolutely.
And that is still very much sought after. You know, one single bag can cost more than 10,000 euros.
With some of Michele's products, Gucci may have missed an opportunity.
According to company insiders, these products like the furry slippers or the Marmont or the Dionysus, they could have become one of those heritage timeless products, but they didn't. And the mistake was that basically they created many variations of these products. They were overexposed somehow. This was a reflection of the short-termism at Kering, basically trying to maximize sales and profits in the short term.
This is reflected in the company's share price. For every dollar of profit that LVMH is expected to make, investors give it about $24 of value. For every dollar of profit at Kering, they only give it about $15. That's because they're more optimistic about LVMH's future business prospects, because it isn't quite as vulnerable to the whims of fashion.
So Pinault knows that Gucci basically needs to play more in the most exclusive luxury space. So in February at the annual results, he says they're trying to basically lift the brand and put it in the same category as some of its peers like Hermes, Chanel or Louis Vuitton. But the thing is, he's been saying that since 2006.
Some observe
You can't break in. It's very hard to break into that tight-knit luxury branding. Like I think the wallet's like $500, right? But again, you can go on eBay and get a secondhand one for $100, $200, right? But if you get a secondhand Birkin bag, well, it could be like up to 3,000. You're looking at perspectives here, right? If secondhand, if it's not selling at 500, what are you doing? You know, scarcity. You know, Nintendo's really good at this for the gamers in my audience. Scarcity can get your product up. I've seen items, you know, I haven't seen, but I've heard from colleagues burned to keep the scarcity down of certain items, you know? Oh, yeah, it happens. Yeah.
Place the blame on Pinault himself.
At LVMH, for the most critical and most important decisions, they're taken by Bernard Arnault himself. At Kering, the management style is slightly different. People have described him as being more hands-off, as being a little bit more laissez-faire.
For those who don't speak French, she said laissez-faire. And she described it as hands-off. And a lot of people describe that in a form of government control, right? If you are talking about hands-off, laissez-faire, you're speaking more of a conservative perspective than a social or a libertarian or any kind of democratic. But yeah, it means hands off. The government doesn't get involved in any sort of anything. That means the government won't like edit your minimum wages or your social or anything like that. Like companies will do everything. There's two sides of that coin, but usually companies are really evil, so the government should get involved somewhat, but not all the time.
And as giving the brands more autonomy.
Critics cite the 2022 Balenciaga scandal as evidence of this. The brand had to apologize after one of its ad campaigns was accused of sexualizing children. Still, in 2023, Pinault found another reason to lose focus.
In 2023, the Pinault family bought a majority stake in Creative Artists Agency. According to some luxury observers, that was seen as a distraction for François-Henri Pinault.
Gucci parted ways with Michele in 2022 over a difference in creative vision.
Of course. No wonder they're losing. They got rid of Fashion Jesus over here.
And a few months later, in early 2023, they named a new designer, Sabato De Sarno. He was a relatively unknown figure from Valentino.
At first, his design seemed more staid than Michele's, playing into Pinault's plan to elevate...
Okay, hold on.
At first, his design seemed more staid than Michele's.
This outfit is disgusting. No wonder Gucci. This is horrible.
playing into Pinault's plan to elevate.
Love this though. Ooh, that's nice too. You got to really keep up with this stuff. But these two are much better. But the first two
the
are
brand.
So Pinault wants
Ew. Ew. Gross.
Gucci basically to become a
These
true luxury
these come on. That one's good. Ooh,
player.
can you,
However,
oh.
making that pivot takes time. It's a marathon at the end of the day. It's not a sprint.
All right, yeah. That was pretty good. Gave a lot of insight on Gucci, and I really appreciated that. I liked it a lot. For sure. That was a really good video. I love Gucci stuff. So, you know, it's not too expensive, which is its problem, and it's nice and it's fashionable. People recognize it. Nothing wrong with that.